Hello there, fellow Kenyans. My name is Oduor Chigero, and this is Political Headache. Today, we are talking about the issues that are affecting our countries right now. And I have Joakim. Joakim, what is your other name?
Simiyu.
Simiyu?
Yes.
So, you heard Gachagua talking about the irrelevance of Raila when he was in the USA. He was in Seattle. Then you talk about, actually when I saw Raila, the trauma came back. You know, Raila has always had his press conferences at that hotel called Serena.
Yes.
You know, even the people that have disagreed with the government, they have always gone to Serena. Mathakarua, Pentagon, they have always been at Serena. And I saw Raila coming out and talking about the issues that are affecting the country. But funnily enough, there was also a lot of people telling ODM people that we brought you into government, sasa mmekula, mkashiba, meanza kututusi.
Basically, the ODM mandarins are not observing table manners. It is general knowledge that when you are eating, you keep quiet. But for them, they want to do both, speak and eat. So their counterparts from the Kenya Kwanza side are reminding them that that is not how it's done. You choose one. You either choose to speak or eat, but you can't do both. But then again, what is giving the ODM people authority to speak is because they know that they are the oxygen tank for the government.
What does that mean?
Without ODM, William Ruto angekuwa alienda nyumbani kitambo sana.
Can you explain how and why?
We had William Ruto between the rock and a hard place. And Raila came in and he asked people to give the government time so that they can constitute an IEBC and start recalling members of parliament. It's a buy-time strategy for Raila so that the temperatures of politics go down a little bit. And when the Gen Zs cooled down, now the government reorganized, and that's how we ended up with a broad-based government. And some of the voices that had been very critical of the government were absorbed into government. And that's what has given President Ruto some breathing space. But without Raila Odinga and ODM's involvement, he was actually going home. Haingekuwa one term, ama half. It was a quarter term.
Because it's very interesting when you say that they should have been going home. But how do you think he would have gone home? He would have resigned? He would have called a press conference and resigned? How would he have gone home? Because what he keeps saying is that kama mnataka mimi niende nyumbani, mpitie njia
ya kikatiba.
Yeah.
You know, someone said, I don't know, I was watching some video, and I want to agree that whenever you see people in government keep on saying that you should do this constitutionally, it's because they control organs of the Constitution. And so they can control the outcome. You know, the Constitution of Kenya only prescribes the models by which we should exercise our power indirectly by electing representatives and delegating some chunk of our power to them. But it doesn't really tell us how we should exercise our power directly. So it is upon us to choose how we are going to exercise that power. We can decide to storm State House and send President Ruto home, and it is still going to be a legal way of sending President Ruto home. So when he says do this constitutionally, I don't really get what he says. Because anything we decide to do now will be constitutional.
How?
Even if we decide that in our attempt of exercising our power directly. It might even include banning State House, uprooting Parliament. Because the Constitution does not tell us how we should exercise our power.
The Constitution says that the people will exercise their power.
Either indirectly or directly. We know how we should exercise it indirectly. Through Parliament and our elected representatives.
Okay.
But how do we exercise it directly? There is no prescription, which gives us an opportunity to do anything. Anything. That is why when people today decide that the president should cease being president now, it happens now. The drafters of the Constitution had in their mind the worst scenarios in governing the country and gave the people a chance to actually exercise a popular revolution. And that's why legal minds like Miguna are talking about revolution, because they know there is nowhere we are curtailed to do anything.
But then, by the way, when Miguna talks about revolution, because I heard him yesterday,
yes,
talking very powerfully on Citizen,
yes,
and saying that he does not like the idea of Raila Odinga calling a dialogue, because dialogues have been called for such a long time, and it has never changed Kenya. When Miguna talks about a revolution, what do you think he actually means?
He means that the people of Kenya must be the ones to decide what should be done, how and when. Because we have been delegating this responsibility to these people, the people in government, but because they benefit from the mess and the confusion that we are in, they cannot actually implement some of the things that the people want. And therefore, a revolution is an initiative of the people to do what they think fits them.
Because the problem I'm having with the revolution is one.
Yes.
Is that the Constitution tells us how to elect a leader.
Yes.
So, for example, if you want to become a governor,
yes,
there is an election to be done. And that election makes sure that for you to be a governor, you must have a deputy governor going side by side.
A ticket.
Yeah, on a ticket. The same to the president.
Yes.
The president has to have a deputy president alongside him. And, he can only fire him via the, what we saw happening to Gachagua.
Yes.
So we have, let's say, 100 people who went to the ballot and voted for this man.
Yes.
So we have got 100 ballot votes that were cast.
Yes.
The president passed by 60%, and therefore he's in office.
Yes.
And so he does not do the things that he was claiming that he's going to do when he was on the campaign trail.
Yes.
He said that this is a hustle economy. He said that in another 6 months, in another 8 months, in another 2 years, we are going to have so on and so forth. But then now, 30% of the people, of the 100 voters,
yes,
are saying you have actually cheated us, and you're no longer doing what you said that you're going to do. But 70% are okay. Do you think it is fair for the 30% to go and burn down State House or to go and uproot Parliament, while the 60%, the 70% of the voters are not of that opinion?
According to your analogy,
yes,
it is not fair. But practically here, that is not the case. Actually, people who still want President Ruto to be president, either they have a tribal angle in the argument, or they are eating with the president. 2, 3, they are just ignorant. They don't know what is happening. In this case, President Ruto has rattled nearly everyone. And even his supporters. Sometimes I get calls from TV stations asking me to look for someone who can defend government on those platforms. They cannot. Do you know why President Ruto is using violence against protesters? It's because you can only fight logic with a superior logic. And if you do not have that superior logic, you decide to use other means. And that means violence. Because nikigona point yako siwezi bishana na wewe. Na kulima ngumi ndo unyamazi. And that is what the president is doing. Because we had a social contract with the president. Okay. The manifesto is what made the people agree in this contract that now we are going to give you 5 years so that you can make 1, 2, 3 happen. But along the way, people have realized, no, something is wrong. And what this person told us, he's not doing what he told us. It's like when you get into a contract with anyone. There are things you must deliver. So they are telling us, we give them time. When you give someone, wacha nitumie example ya nyumbani kwa sababu nimelelewa mashambani. Umepea mtu kibarua ya kulima shamba. You have given them a piece of land and you've given them a week to finish that job. You can know how long it will take by the size of land that has been plowed in a day. You can estimate, if this is the amount, the size he has done in one day, then he can probably do this size in a week. So you can tell if he will beat the deadline or we will extend. The people of Kenya have seen what President Ruto has done. And I can tell you for sure, even if we now say, hey, let's now stop everything. Let's give President Ruto time to work. Nothing will happen.
What is your biggest problem with President Ruto as a Gen Z person?
President Ruto.
Okay. What can you give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
One thing.
Yes.
First.
Okay.
Every president uses violence. Everyone, even Obama. But the question is on who? When you use the instruments of violence on terror, external aggression, it's okay. Like the case of Dusit D2 Hotel, you can send the police and they can shoot those people and nobody will ask you a question. But when you use a bullet to someone who is coming with a bottle of water, a flag, and a phone, then that is wrong. That is where I fault the president in the first place. Second problem, President Ruto did one very good thing. He awakened the political consciousness in nearly everyone, even those people who thought politics doesn't affect their life. Today they know that politics directly affects their life. And he told young people that you are not poor because you are not hardworking. You are poor because someone somewhere in government has decided to create an environment where you cannot flourish or thrive. And therefore, when I get into government, such things will stop and you young people will have a chance to actually grow and improve your lives. And he said, kazi ni kazi. People sang, freedom is coming. And actually, he told us things like police brutality will be things of the past. The police will be independent. I am coming with an economic model called bottom-up, where yule mama mboga, they will have a chance to now own a mini-mart somewhere. Yule mutu ya mkokoteni, they will own a canter. And so people saw a possibility of getting out of the manacles of poverty and get into the environment where there is abundance. What has happened is the direct opposite of the same. And since he told people, he showed them that you can be defiant to the government, you can actually demand things. The way he caused a lot of headache to President Ruto, he's now reaping the same things. The same young people that he used to sing with, hatupangwingwi, ndo anataka kuwapanga. They're only reminding him that sisi hatupangwingwi. Then again, sasa yeye anakasirika akiambiwa tupangwini. Na yeye
Brother, go ahead. Go ahead.
I remember.
Trajectory.
I remember one of the statements he made. You know, I followed his campaign quite closely.
Did you?
Yes. I was in Azimio, but I used to listen to nearly everything. There is a day he was here in Kisii. He said, it's the people of Kenya that hires and fires governments.
He said?
Yes, with his own mouth. That the people of Kenya shall prevail above deep state, above state capture, above corruption, above intimidation, above everything fashioned against them. Now he became the very things he told people that they will prevail against. He has become the enemy that he told people to fight. So people are fighting the enemy they were told that this thing is an enemy. Corruption is an enemy. Cronyism is an enemy. Nepotism is an enemy. Creating mongrels and give them beautiful names of governance like handshake and broad-based is an enemy. And that's what people are fighting. But every time they fight something, they find out, oh, William Ruto is the one who began this. When they fight corruption, William Ruto is there. When they say broad-based is bad, William Ruto is there. When they say jobs are not here, William Ruto is there. Then he comes and asks, itakuwa na unemployment ilianza na mimi. Unajua mimi nashanga because unemployment really did not begin with President William Ruto. That is why he stood in Machakos and said, I have put aside 100 billion to give 4 million Kenyan youth decent jobs.
100 billion?
Yes. So we were wondering, for us in Azimio, we were wondering about the practicality of that statement. But quite a number of people internalized that. He promised 4 million jobs to the young people. So when the 4 million young people demand jobs, anawauliza, kwani kazi ilianza, ukosefu ya kazi ilianza na mimi? You cannot defend non-performance just because your predecessor did not perform. How different are you from your predecessor that you criticized with everything you had, and then again become even more than him? President Ruto has made Uhuru look like an angel. When you compare the two, there is no big difference, but now the perception, President Uhuru is now looking like an angel.
And this has been happening with each and every government. You remember even when Kibaki left and Uhuru took over, we had fought Kibaki so much. You remember 2007?
Yes.
By the time he was leaving, he was tortured and very... but then when... You remember Ruto and his friend Uhuru Kenyatta having red ties?
Yes. The dynamic duo, as they were known by then.
Why were they called a dynamic duo?
It's Kibaki who gave them that acronym.
It is Kibaki who gave them?
Yes, he said that at the swearing-in time. He described them as the dynamic duo. But then Miguna later on came and called them the despotic duo. So, I don't know which name to refer to them. But now, I know one of the biggest mistakes we made as a country, and we need to agree, was in 2013. Kibaki had his weaknesses. He didn't know how to manage politics. That's how we ended up with our 2007 post-election violence. But Kibaki opened up the economy. Kibaki created an environment where you can be self-reliant. An environment where even selling groundnuts in a bucket on the streets could pay your bills comfortably. Kibaki thought about the young people. I never met Kibaki. I was just in the village, but I loved watching.
But you were also
news.
young.
Yes, but even at the young age, I was very attentive to the political happenings of the country. I loved watching news and reading newspapers. And my father is actually a very good historian, so he could tell me stories about Tomboy, and I could join the dots. Kibaki, it's him. His time that we started seeing electricity in the villages, uko Bungoma. It's during that time that our people in Bungoma and Western stopped using bicycle bodabodas, and we started seeing piki-piki. Normally, piki-piki was only reserved for teachers in the area. It was a sign of prosperity and wealth. But then Kibaki opened up, and there was a way people could, even if you decide to protest, you think of what you'll be losing at the end of the day. So you don't really protest so much because you stand to lose something. President Ruto has created an environment where the only thing protesters lose is their miserable lives, nothing else. We are living in an environment where 22 million Kenyans cannot manage their day-to-day lives. They struggle even getting a meal per day. And someone goes home, the only thing they own is in that room that they stay. When you go to the house today, there is nothing that belongs to you that has remained outside. So you have everything in that house. When you are told to go and protest, you don't think twice because there is nothing that belongs to you that will be destroyed. So you have every reason to go and protest. And actually you think of destroying some property so that the government can get the message. So it's easier to protest during Ruto's time. But it was not so easy during Kibaki's time because hata kama hali haikuwa mzuri sana compared to today, today we are poorer than we were at the time of independence. At the time of independence, at the time of Moi, the poorest person could have 8 acres of land.
Yeah.
But today when you are poor, you are poor.
Can we, because I know that you are a young person.
Yes.
How young are you?
I'm not so old. I am on the border of Gen Z and millennials.
So you were born in 1997?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back.
Yes.
So in 1997, you were actually born after multi-party politics.
Yes.
Okay. You were born in Bungoma.
Yes.
Where in Bungoma?
Kandui
in Bungoma. That is Bungoma County. Which constituency?
Kandui constituency.
Kandui constituency.
Yes.
Because when I hear you talking online,
Yes.
you look like somebody that, well, let's talk about the things you say.
Yes.
They sometimes sound maturer than your age.
Yes.
When you were growing up, what were you told about politics? When you became of age and started listening, because I'm not sure when you started really listening to politics and ingesting politics and interpreting it. Can you tell me a little bit of your journey in politics, what you used to see, what you imagined it to be, and when you decided that I am going to become an activist? I'm not calling you an activist. That's the closest thing I can.
You can bring me to.
Yeah.
Growing up, my father used to tell me history of the inception of the country, and I used to read a lot of history books, and in the history books I could see some kind of animosity between two tribes, Kikuyus and Luos. So every time we could, wakati mama ako jikoni anapika, me and my dad and my other brothers, we were sitting and he could narrate stories of people like Tom Mboya's involvement in politics, Session Paper 10, and basically how everyone was organizing around independence time. And I grew a lot of interest to understand and just know the chronology of events. From the stories my father used to give me and from the books of history, I admired our forefathers had independence. Most of them wanted a progressive country, the likes of Tom Mboya. Then later on, I came to learn about Martin Shikuku. So that kind of historical background, because I didn't love numbers. Mathematics ilikuwa inasumbua mimi sana. Ati a ladder suspended against a wall. Nilikuwa spendi hiyo kabisa.
Same WhatsApp group. Ladder suspended against
the angle of elevation.
Yeah, the angle of elevation, the nautical mile. What for?
Low psi and what have you. I didn't love those things.
Okay.
So I loved the stories. Then growing up, at the time of when Wamalwa was dying, I was a very young person, 2 or 3. I was around 6 years.
In 2003, you were 9. You were 6 years.
Yes, 2003. But imagine at that age, I felt the departure of Michael Wamalwa Kijana. I could hear stories. My mom and other relatives say that, hey, as a community, we have really lost. So, growing up, I wanted somebody who could come and fill the shoes of Wamalwa. So even in primary school, reading books. By the time I was in high school, every set book that you could mention, nilikuwa nimesoma zote. All historical books. So I think that is what made me develop this affinity for political content. Then after Form 4, that was I sat for my KCSE in 2015.
2015?
Yes. Then after that, I went to Kitui. That was 2016. Started my bakery there.
Your bakery?
Yes. Now the election time came, and I wasn't so much involved, but I could listen to the campaigns. I have started being actively involved in politics in 2020 after coronavirus. Because nilikuwa na hiyo kalenda ya Pentagon kwa nyumba, kwa Simba au kwa nyumbani.
Okay.
Because I have always admired Raila's approach to politics. Because people in Western love people who are aggressive and defiant. But there is a little slight difference between a Luo and a Luya. I will explain it later on. But still we love that bravado. But I had a problem with one man. I don't know why. I hadn't really learned a lot about him. But every time I could look at his picture on the calendar, something used to tell me, this man doesn't look like a good person.
Okay. Who was that?
And he was wearing, if I remember, navy blue suit. And that was William Ruto. So at the time, as we approached 2022, as a deputy president, and he was now very vocal, he wants to be president. I now went back to history and know, where did this guy come from? I realized he introduced himself to the Kenyan politics through Youth for Kano in 1992. As the rest of the country were clamoring for multipartyism, he was actually chairing a youth wing that was wreaking havoc on the people who were clamoring for change. That alone was enough red flag. Then I continue looking at his track records. I realized that in 1999, when he was director of election in Kano, some 77 million shillings was lost at the Kenya Pipeline Corporation. The person who was arraigned in court, William Ruto, and Julius Sonkuli was his lawyer.
Okay.
So I continue. I look at his record as Minister for Agriculture. Some mysterious maize scandal. Then he came forward and said tunaendea mahindi Mexico. In 2 days, mahindi iko kwa port hapa. Tukauliza, so people were asking, I was just a young person, but I could join the dots. Akasema hapana, mimi sikusema Mexico, nilisema maize iko. You know, it looks
so
comical.
Mexico looks like Mexico.
So maize iko. So nikaona huyu jamaa. Actually, when you go back into the archives of his speeches, you will see it. Then when he was Minister for Higher Education, there was a proposal to have a TVET in every constituency. The funds for that program mysteriously got lost. Who is the minister? William Ruto. Maize scandal? William Ruto. And you remember the thing that Jirongo used to talk about. They started a business together, Venture Africa, tourism company, something like that. He later on realized that he has been shortchanged.
Jirongo. Shortchanged.
Jirongo was shortchanged. And also, President Ruto was in charge of distributing KANU T-shirts.
Okay.
At the time, in all the 8 provinces. So 10,000 T-shirts in the headquarter, let's say, for example, Nairobi, inakuwa received, all the particulars signed. Then in the evening, those T-shirts are taken. He delivers the same T-shirts in Nakuru. All particulars signed. Then so those same T-shirts are taken. He delivers them to Kisumu. He delivered one lot of T-shirts 8 times. And he got paid for it. From a distance, you could say this is a brilliant man who knows how to play his cards. But you look at the effect of that behavior on other people. Let's assume these are public funds. One person is playing the mind of the people, siphoning money meant for public project, benefiting himself. People say that President Ruto is very brilliant. He is. Only when he's looking for things that benefit him. He stops at nothing, and he's very brilliant in coming up with strategies that benefit him. But when it comes to things that benefit other people, he's stone deaf, mute, and blind.
He's stone deaf, mute, and blind.
Yes. So, my history, where I've come from, I realized a peculiar behavior in me, even when I was in Sunday school. Our Sunday school teacher could pluck me from my age mates. Ananipeleka kwa grupu ingine ya watu wakubwa huko. My age mates, Sunday school teacher yangu hataki nichezee hapo. Ananipeleka kwa watu that are way older than me. Even when I joined high school, conversations are from ones, no. I used to sit with Form 3s and Form 4s. So I don't know why. I could see the shock on your face when you learned that I was born in 1997. But let me say it's just, they say God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And this is one of the mysterious ways.
So, when Ruto was just about to be elected in 2022,
Yes.
Where were you? You were in Azimio.
Yes, I was.
Why were you in Azimio and not in Kenya Kwanza?
I've always wanted a country where everyone, I used to admire Raila's, the late Wamalwa Kijana speeches so much. There's a time he said that we are not into this politics business to enrich ourselves. We are into this business so that we make a country where every Kenyan, when they wake up, they thank God that they are in a good country. They thank God that they have a good government and a good president. The reason why I supported Raila Odinga is because he was saying things that when actualized, will make this country a good place for everyone, regardless of your tribe. I remember one of the biggest reasons I supported him because I was a young man and youth unemployment is an issue in the country, he was talking about one county, one product. That every county has something as a raw material that when harnessed well and do some value addition, we can create an industry in every county in this country. And that industry would create jobs. The industries would still beg for roads and railway lines. So such an idea would make Kenya an industrial hub. And we would cut on things like importing second-hand clothes. Our textile industry will be revitalized. I thought about pan paper, one of the biggest sources of livelihoods for my people. I thought about Nzoia Sugar, it was on its deathbed, and Mumias Sugar Company. So the idea of one county, one product really resonated with me. And also he talked about the 6,000 for the vulnerable. People think that the 6,000 was meant for everyone. It was meant for very few people. Because for you to be categorized as a vulnerable person, you must be really operating from below, way below the poverty line. So wale watu wanasema ati, walikuwa wanasema ati Raila atatupea, wewe utapewa hiyo 6,000. Mimi singepewa because I was not vulnerable. But there were people in the society, in your village where you come from, when you asked, who is the most vulnerable person? You will easily remember because you can see how they are living. And so such things, because I believe in leadership that impacts the community. And also again, Raila's history has some trademarks of success. His involvement in repealing Section 2A, his involvement in the promulgation of the new constitution, his involvement in fighting detention without trial and actually expanding our democratic space. I gave credit to him, but I could not find one thing. I could give credit to President Ruto, and actually I thank God now that we've given him a chance to prove to us that he can actually do something, but he has squandered that chance. Ingekuwa ni Raila alipita na mambo iko ngumu na maana hii, Ruto angekuwa anazunguka huko akisema, had he gotten the chance, he will be the best president. But now we know. You see, in school, we had group discussions. And you could, a foolish student at underhead could get a chance to be in a group discussion of very brilliant students. So you could think that everyone in that group is brilliant until the day that dunderhead student gets a chance to do a presentation on behalf of the group. That's when you realize, huyu ni Burukenge kwa msafara ya mamba. President Ruto has been playing the card of blame games and avoiding the blame and accusing someone else. Right now, he cannot accuse anyone. He has blamed nearly everyone. He blamed Raila during the around 2023. It was Simiyu that was not making him to work.
Yes, I remember.
Yes. Later on, he's been blaming Gachagua. He's now not making him to work, and the Kikuyu community. He's always blaming someone. And now he's blaming young people and parents not raising their children well. So that is the problem in this country.
Can I ask you a question? I've got several questions to ask you.
Yes.
The first one that I want to ask you is, now, you have mentioned some few things that Raila has done over the years. The promulgation of the new constitution in 2010, the repealing of Section 2A of the constitution that brought in multipartyism. He has fought so many wars. Right now, as you look at Raila,
yes,
what is your assumption of him in the political space that we are right now? Looking at his picture in 1982, looking at his picture in 1970s, looking at Raila throughout the duration that he has looked for the presidency. But I also want to ask you one thing about Raila. He's the kingpin of the Luo community. Is he doing a good job at that, at being the kingpin of the Luo community? Do you like him at the moment?
It's quite unfortunate at the moment that it is hard for you to defend a man that even those people who hated him respected him. It actually looks like all the effort he's done for the past 50 years, as we stand now, it looks like a long con game. People can really believe that he wasn't really standing for anything. And it's very sad because personally, I have liked Raila till recently when he joined. I have nothing personal, but as long as he's with Ruto, I can support him. But now, you look at, you could have a very good intention of doing something. But when you repeatedly do it, people start thinking that you have an ulterior motive. And you could, let's say Raila was the one leading the clamor for independence. Do you know the British will still be here today? And they will never have gone.
That is, bro, that's bonkers. Why do you say that?
Because Raila will always find a way of negotiating and having a dialogue with them.
He would have dialogue with the British today.
Yeah, Raila could have told Kimathi to deaden Kimathi, wacha vita. Let us have dialogue.
Kema, vita umesikia hiyo?
Yes.
He would have told Dedan Kimathi.
Yes. We can always find a solution when we talk. And we will have talked to everyone.
My God, the funniest thing I've had in a long time. I've listened to politics.
Eh? That is the Raila we have. Because he's been at the center of every dialogue. At the time of interparliamentary party group
meetings, yes.
IPPG in 1997. His party.
Which one was that then?
Was it NDP?
NDP.
Yes. Was part of the IPPG thing. Because Wamalwa had a thought that when we engage in violence, we are not helping anyone, and therefore we should have a sit down at the table and see how we can solve the problems, bedeviling the people without really getting into scuffles. Then later on, Raila's NDP had a merger with KANU.
The KANU.
Then we get a cooperation. Then Raila gets Secretary General of the party because he knew by being in KANU, he would easily succeed Moi. Then at the time of 2002, then Moi said, awa watu wote ni marafiki zangu. Saitoti ni rafiki. Hata Raila. But sioni mtu hapa kuongoza hii nchi, apart from Uhuru Kenyatta. In protest, Raila left with everyone who mattered in KANU. Everyone. The other side, Kibaki, Wamalwa, and Charity Ngilu had already formed NAK, NAK, National Alliance of Kenya. Then Raila now joins them later And that's how we end up with Kibaki Tosha to Hurpak. The day Raila said Kibaki Tosha, that morning he had promised Simiyu Nyachai that he was going to endorse him for presidency. And Simiyu Nyachai gave him some size good of money. But then Kibaki said, Nyachai ni kama Moi. He cannot get out Moi and replace him with another Moi. So on the sidelines, they had a conversation with Kibaki. So when Raila was given a chance to speak, Nyachai knew
that his name was going to be said.
Yes.
To be declared.
Yes. And Raila knows how one of his unique abilities is that he always knows where the red line is and he does not cross it. So he can say something very sensitive, but the way he coins that statement in a way that he doesn't take any blame. Because on that particular day he said, si Kibaki anatosha. Aya hakusema Kibaki tosha. Then the crowd went crazy. Asema si hata Kibaki huyu anatosha. So later on ukimuuliza, why didn't you endorse me? I said, Mimi, I was just having a conversation. Ndio sasa nikauliza. Lakini sasa watu wakaamua ni Kibaki. Nyachai left his coat on the chair at Uhuru Park. He never came back to pick it.
Really?
Alikufa kama anachukia Raila vibaya sana. Sana. That's why ukiuliza hata Ruto in 2007 alitoka Keroka mbio sana. He was hospitalized at Nairobi also.
Oh my God. So now what became of him?
So Raila, I liken Raila to the evangelists of the 18th century who did a very good job.
Evangelists?
Yes.
A specific one?
They were a group of evangelists.
In the 18th century?
Yes. Mm-hmm. They did a very good job converting people into Christianity. They were so committed to the gospel. But later on in life, they got tired of doing the good job. They backslid. They ended up as homosexuals. People who had done a very good job along the years died as homosexuals. So all the good job counted for nothing because the finishing was bad. I fear that Raila could go that direction. I don't want him to go that way. And I hope he has some plan that will make us regret saying these things. Today, Raila is like that pastor who prayed for you, ukaokoka. Then later on unasikia, huyo pastor alikuombea ukaokoka, amerepu mtoto. You will even start questioning the salvation. Because the pastor that made you believe in this salvation has done something totally outrageous. Raila has been against the very things he's defending today. Police brutality.
Is he really defending them? I hear him. He comes out once in a while.
Yes, once in a while. He's an expert in managing emotions. Managing emotions, you can't teach him. He's an expert. Raila Odinga sits with Ruto in spaces like this, having wine or tea or something. If Ruto is doing something wrong, why doesn't he tell him there? Does he have to tweet or come in public and say, this one is bad? No. The person who is perpetrating these things is your friend. Like the other day when he was in, was it Kilifi? With Gideon Mongaro in a funeral. He was talking about the people who died in the protests that he led. And he said, during the protest of Sufuria, my people died. And they have not been compensated. The person who was heading government at that time was William Ruto, who is now his friend. He doesn't have to stand and tell us how his people should be compensated. Let him tell Ruto that, can you compensate my people? The Onyango brothers who were pulled out of their mother's house in Nyalenda and were clobbered to death. It was the time of Sufuria. The head of government was William Ruto, who is now Raila Odinga's friend and brother. Why come to us and tell us things that you can only tell him there? I said somewhere in the past that I have reason to believe that every person who died in Raila Odinga's protests was fully compensated. And the person who took the compensation is Raila Odinga himself. Let me explain. People who died for Raila in 2017, who believed that Raila should be president, and he's been shortchanged. Their compensation came in terms of a handshake. The person who benefited mostly out of those deaths is Raila Odinga. He had a chance to tell President Uhuru not to come up with committees of inquiry. No, we know the families. We know the victims. Let us go and compensate them. He had that chance. The people who died for Raila in 2023 were compensated in terms of a broad-based government. Those who died in 2007 were compensated in terms of a nusumukate. Because we, the people who have been supporting Raila Odinga, we openly say, Baba akikula, sisi tuko sawa. So why come to me when you can give it to Baba? You understand? So he should not complain of things like compensation. He's been in every government that killed his people. So the people who are victims of police brutality in protests, before they even go to government, Raila, how do we get compensated? Because you've always had a way of accessing people who have been orchestrating these atrocities on us.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
What do you think, what do you assume is his plan right now?
Because he's Agwambo, the mysterious one, I was thinking of a possible situation where Raila Odinga, because he knows that he has to maintain his popularity for him to be able to bargain to be part of the next government. Because that is his always end goal. He doesn't want responsibility, being asked a lot of questions, how the country is being run, but he wants to enjoy the privileges that comes with power. But hiyo mambo ya kelele mingi. When you say education has crumbled, ask William Ruto. When you say health is not working, ask William Ruto. But he's always on the red carpet with the same president, enjoying privileges that you only enjoy when you are president.
He always enjoys them.
Yes. He had the same privilege with Kibaki. Kibaki left. He went with Uhuru. Uhuru left. He's now here with Ruto. Enjoying very same. Sai Raila anaenda na Cheska. The government takes care of every business he does. But he knows one thing, that when he goes to the ballot with William Ruto, then his popularity will really, really go down.
What does going to the ballot with William Ruto
means? Supporting William Ruto in 2027. He will lose his popularity. He will be reduced to just a Nyanza kingpin. Raila has been more than just a Nyanza kingpin. He's been, the Kambas have believed in him huge chunk of Luyas, a section of Kikuyus, everyone. But if he goes with the Ruto to the ballot, he will just be some other tribal kingpin. And because he knows that that will be terrible for him, some 6 months to election, unasikia John Mbadi has resigned. Out of the blue. Before you process that information, unasikia Raila to address the country at 3 in the evening. At 3, when now people are gathered around their radios and their phones online, he postpones to saa moja. Before saa moja, a joint resignation of Joho and Opiyo Wandayi happens. And then Raila Odinga comes at around saa 2, says, Jua, wakati mlikuwa mnawinda mkiwa huko nje. Nilikuwa nawinda nikiwa ndani. Sasa Simba tumeng'oa meno. Tumeng'oa makucha. Yeye ni kibogoyo.
Shaka yule siku.
So sasa amekuwa kama chui. Hawezi badilika madoadoa yake.
Why do you speak like Raila?
I want to tell you, if he does that, people will start saying, nilikwambia. Nilijua Raila anacheza huyu mtu. He will salvage his popularity again. It's his biggest bargaining power.
And how does it progress from there?
From there, he fights Ruto very viciously at the ballot. Very viciously, like they never worked together.
With
the opposition that will be there.
To what end?
To make sure that he doesn't succeed. Even if Ruto succeeds again without Raila, he will know how to work with him post the election. He always knows. That's a possibility. So,
once he's fought him at the ballot?
Once he's fought, when William Ruto loses, Raila Odinga will celebrate with us the victory there. And where government will be formed, he will be seated right there. After 2027, we will still have Raila around government. Not as president, but a very powerful person without portfolio.
Just like he is right now?
Yes.
Let me ask you about the Kikuyu nation.
Yes.
When the Luos were being killed, as you have rightly said in Nyalenda,
yes,
there's a section of the Kikuyu people that celebrated and said that hawa jamaa hawananga kazi, hawana biashara, kazi yao ni kulete siasa na kuharibu mali ya watu. And a lot of Luos thought that that was not nationalistic. At that time when Luos were being shot dead, we should have had a hashtag saying that we are all Luos.
Yes.
A few years down the line, right about now, we see a lot of things happening to the Kikuyu community.
Yes.
And rightfully so, we have decided that we are all Kikuyus. And I think the issue, the tag "we are all Kikuyus" does not just end there. It gives a larger meaning that we are all Kenyans, right? The question that I want to ask you are two. Why do you think that a section of the country are assuming that the Kikuyus are the ones causing trouble? Why is a big portion of this country think that it is the Kikuyus that are touching businesses? Because in my head, I am thinking, when the former governor of Nairobi came out in the news and said that, oh, you thought it was the Raila people that were touching cars. No, those were government goons that were sent to go and touch those cars. So in my head, I'm thinking, a Kikuyu man knows how much it takes to set up a business. And they have got utmost respect for a man who comes out of the house in the morning to go and open a shop. So I've always wondered, and when I see my own tribesmen, Luos, saying that Kikuyus are touching business in Nyandarua, in Nyeri, I'm like, no, I don't think
something
so.
is not adding up.
Something is not adding up. The question that I want to ask you is the tribal thing about the Gen Z. When I talk to Shaka, who is a Gen Z, she always tells me that when they think about politics, the first thing that registers is not the tribe. The first thing that registers is that, what direction are you taking this country? Let's talk about that first. Because if I do not have food, as a Kikuyu and a Luo does not have food, and a Kamba doesn't have some, then what is the point of us calling ourselves Kambas and Luos? What do you think about the whole scenario that is happening right now with the Kikuyus and the politics of tribe?
I also used to believe that Kikuyus are a problem in this country.
Is that so?
I used to think like that. To some extent, at some point in life, I hated Kikuyus so much. I said, these people are a problem.
What was making you have that mentality of hating them?
To be honest, when someone is enjoying very many privileges and you're not, even if it's your brother, you start developing some hatred.
Okay.
When your brother sees you, you come with shopping every evening. Your wife is dressing well, your children are being driven to school, and he's wallowing in poverty.
Yeah.
Anaanza kuona ni kama wewe ndo unafanya yeye ni maskini.
Yeah.
So I think
yes.
So to some extent, I used to believe and said it's Kikuyus who love themselves, they appoint themselves in government, they don't want other parts of the region to develop. But later on in life, I learn about what really is the problem. You get a politician from your community telling you a Kikuyu is a bad person. You dig deep and you find that he has a Kikuyu wife. He has a Kikuyu lawyer. He has a Kikuyu business partner. He lives in a Kikuyu neighborhood. They want you as Jagero to hate a Kikuyu here in Kikomba, but he's with a Kikuyu as his personal lawyer at State House. So you wonder, which Kikuyu is bad here? Is it the one at State House or this one in Kikomba? I do not deny the fact that we have been having a very big animosity between these two tribes, mostly Kikuyus and Luos, mostly when it comes to politics. But in business, the best combination you can ever get is a Kikuyu and a Luo. Kikuyus will always come up with an idea, and the executor will be a Luo. In corporate worlds, people who cut deals are Luos, but people with the idea of the business is a Kikuyu. So, and because of political expediency, for elites from Kikuyus and elites from Luos to thrive and elites from Luyas and Kambas to thrive, they need to create some imagery lines between the tribes so that they can get small units of control. Because yesterday I was in Mount Kenya, in Limuru to be precise. The roads there are good. The neighborhood is good. But then again I look at Bungoma and I see a very big difference. And I ask myself, what is the problem? This is the biggest difference. The leaders from Mount Kenya and Kikuyus have made their people understand the value of power and leadership positions. That when you are a Kikuyu and someone is interfering with coffee, even if one Kikuyu is in UDA and the other one is in PNU, you meet somewhere as a Kikuyu to discuss issues affecting your community. You discard your parties first. You think about you people. It is not the same case with me, where me and you comes from. Because if our leaders really cared about our livelihoods, pan paper aingeanguka. Our leaders our leaders thrive on the ignorance of their electorate. That an average person from Western does not know what to expect from a senator or a member of parliament. They do not know who should build a road. Senator anakuja anasema mimi nitajenga barabara. Na watu wanapiga makofi.
And he has no vote for a road.
Yeah, hana hata kiti. He has no fund for doing anything. But our people do not know. And when you go and enlighten our people that, hey, this is not wrong, this is not right, let us go this way, you become their enemy. If we have to blame Kikuyus for developing their area, which organ of government is in charge of allocating resources? It's parliament, where every tribe is there. We have Luos there, we have Luyas there, we have Kambas there. Where were they when Kikuyus were allocating a lot of funds to their area and nothing to their areas? Today, we have a speaker called Moses Wetangula, who appends his signature on every document in parliament, be it allocation of money, everything. So, now that he's the speaker, how has he ensured that when we share these resources and Kera is dividing money for rural roads, his people benefits? If there is a mistake that Kikuyus have done, is that they have only taken advantage of the unwillingness of the leaders from our communities to develop their own areas. They have only taken advantage on the behavior of the leaders that we produce and the mentality of the voters from those areas. A while ago, Kera allocated 50 million to build rural roads in the whole western region, 5 counties. It allocated 1.1 billion to Kikuyu constituents. Do you know why?
No.
Because they know that members of parliament from a whole 5 counties will not protest. And the people of the whole 5 counties in Western do not know that they have been cheated. We have not done enough for ourselves. Therefore, we cannot blame someone else. Do enough for yourself. Then when you do not get enough, you say, this one has cheated me. Sasa tuko Waluya wako na mtu anaitwa Paranya. SMEs, pesa ya sako, pesa ya biashara. Kuna Mluya anajua ofisi ya Paranya mahali iko. Walk in these roads and say, hey, ukutana mtu anakaa Mluya mwambie, niaje mwami? Poa. Paranya ofisi yake kwa wapi? Anakuambia, jaribu KICC. Sijui lakini because they don't have a reason to go there. They don't. If it was a Kikuyu with that docket, Kikuyus will be having soft loans for their businesses. They actually guide you on how to come up with the business proposals. Unaenda kwa office na proposal unakwambia, no, this is wrong. Go right like this and come back. But when a lawyer walks into an office of a lawyer leader, that lawyer leader first of all wonders, how did this person know this office? Anakuuliza, nani alikuambia, alikutuma? So if we have not created an environment where development can happen, where our people can actually benefit from the position of power and influence that we have, what business do we have to blame other people?
Can I ask you another question?
Yes.
Raila, for example, for lack of a better person to use as an example,
Yes.
has always been. Let me use. In fact, he's the one I want to use as an example. Let me not delete that. Let me not go around the bush. He has always been spoken of as a patriot,
Yes.
Pan-Africanist, nationalist, and right now there is a man called Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes.
And this goes to the core of your argument. That when they formed the government together with His Excellency, the President, William Ruto,
Yes.
they sat down, wakasemezana, wakaafikiana ya kwamba hii utachukua, hawa ni watu yako, hawa ni watu yangu. Okay? And then they said, then at some point he realized that huyu jamaa ananichezea karata. Kuna so many cards under the table.
The good ones.
Yes, there are so many cards. But then Rigathi Gachagua came out fiercely,
Yes.
defending the people of the mountain
Yes.
and saying that our people deserve this,
Yes.
our people deserve that. A lot of people have said that Rigathi Gachagua
Is tribal.
is tribal. But the person who is saying that is the same person that they sat on a table with.
And discuss.
And discuss and say that
How to share things.
nitakupea hii na wewe mimi ni baki na hii. Okay? So when this person comes around outside and say that this is a tribalist, but some days back they were on a table and discussing tribalism. But now he comes out and say that this guy is a tribalist. So I think that when people say that I should be a Kenyan, I am confused. Because I come from a place called Nyakach constituency, 25 kilometers from Kisumu town. That place was supposed to be having irrigation. It was supposed to be having fishing, because we are just next to Lake Sango, what the white men call Lake Victoria. Okay? And in our place, you can hardly plant, because you don't know when it is rain or it won't. You can plant today, and then it will rain in 6 months. You plant in 6 months, it starts raining immediately before you plant. If I had a Luo leader who is saying that, how do we irrigate Nyakach? How do we, because we used to plant cotton when the season was a bit favorable to people. You'd know that it would rain at this time, and by this time you'll be harvesting. My father used to plant a lot of cotton. At the tail end of his life, he was an accountant with a parastatal in Kisumu, whose mandate was to collect cotton from the farmers and then sell them over to factories. If I get a leader who is coming out on TV and fighting for Nyakach, the way Gachagua has been fighting for the people of the mountain, I honestly have no problem with it. Because I think that Kenya is such a big thing, and we have to take it back to smaller portions. Because you've talked about loyal land, in a very passionate way. You've talked about the Luos, and you talk about the Kikuyus. The narrative here is that we have a national cake that is divided into pieces. And you're saying that, Joakim, this is for your people. This money is going to open sandpaper. Okay? And your people that is standing you stand behind someone.
Yes.
And saying that this one that has been taken to the sandpaper, this one cannot go to Meru.
You have already taken yours?
Yes.
But you are curtailing others from
Yes,
waiting.
and therefore, if I say that this must go to Sandpaper, I don't think I am a tribalist.
No.
I just want the one that was supposed to go to Sandpaper.
Yes. You know,
Yeah.
Gachagua, I don't admire his brand of politics, but tuseme ukweli, there is nothing wrong with someone defending their community passionately. You remember the speech of Tom Mboya when he was talking about the organization of leadership in Kenya?
Yes.
He said Kenyan people are clan-minded. They come together as a country, but then again, back into their homes, they are clan-minded people. That let us organize ourselves in small units, and then all these units come together to claim this country called Kenya. And therefore, you must be selfless leading them. That the resources you are in charge of are not yours. You are only holding them in trust for your people. And therefore, your leadership should impact the community that has elected you to lead them. And I agree. The difference between Gachagua and William Ruto is Gachagua is very loudly tribal, but William Ruto, his actions ndio ziko tribal kabisa. William Ruto does not believe in integration and coexistence. He will always want to know this land, whose land was this? Who was here before? There's a time he was talking about Kitale. He said, the Luyas, the Kisis, and the Kikuyus who are in Kitale, if we are to say the truth, they should move out of Kitale because that land ancestrally belongs to Sengweny, the Pokot, and the, I don't know which other tribe we mentioned. You know, if we go into such things, how do we coexist? That is the person accusing Gachagua of tribalism. If we agreed that now Mount Kenya should get 40% of the cake, the Kalenjins should get 25%, Luyas get 30%, this one get 0.3%, based on your numbers, let us all share the national resources based on the numbers that we have. There is nothing wrong with that. We are in a problem from where we come from because we've never had a person who actually pushes for our agenda on the table. The only person who tries and he works from outside government, Raila ndiye akipata chance ya kukaa kwa meza, unapata tu vitu tunafanyika hapa Kisumu, nini. But now, our people, nimekwambia nikirudia, kwamba we are our own problem. Like Luos, I want to you know, Luos are people that I have admired. So my God gave them a good brain to study and become so many things. Then you find a Luo who opposed Tuju, Rarieda constituents. And Tuju was saying, hey, let us develop Rarieda. But what was his biggest problem? He was against the Baba. Do you know where our problem is? In Kikuyu land, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are not delivering to the people, they go against you. They went against Uhuru Kenyatta. But what do? We listen to people who are not benefiting us. That's why in Western Kenya you see people saying Tawe. They are tired of leadership that only spreads poverty. And they are listening to someone who is saying, we have superiority in terms of numbers. We are the second largest community. We can stick together and ask for what belongs to us. Kambas come with what they want. There is enough in this country for everyone's need, but there can never be enough for everyone's greed. So, hii maneno ya tribalism, it's a card that is very lucrative for politicians.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I want to invite you again and again. We talk because I've got so many questions that we should be able to discuss. So people of the internet, thank you very much for listening in. Please comment and tell us what you think. We also ask you that you subscribe, hit on that notification bell, and if you want to come to this podcast, you're welcome. Until another episode, bye for now.